weird, sketchy connection. I don't know the way the opening video played. It was very like that. So I don't know. We're gonna trudge forward, as they say. Welcome in to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, live from the brand new Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E Gallery in the fabulous Dallas Design District. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, at around noon o'clock. We get together and we talk about all the day's news, all the day's. Why am I so washed out? Oh, because you know what? Because I'm doing a weird thing with lights. I got this really cool new lighting rig from Ed, and it's I'm practicing with it. Hold on, let me see something here. See if I can make this at least maybe a little. Is that better? Maybe that's better. Okay, I don't look quite as vampiric. Every day I get here with you folks, we fill up the chat room. I see people coming in. Hello, pull up a chair, get yourself comfortable. We talk about the day's news. The hot topics, the trends, really whatever it is that people are buzzing about. We don't go deep into politics. I hate politics. I hate divisive politics. I actually, if I'm being honest, I like politics. I just don't like divisive politics. And that seems to be the only kind of political discourse we have anymore. So we stay away from that stuff. We just talk about regular things that normal Americans find interesting and want to talk about, want to maybe distract themselves from the drudgery of life. Every day for 3 years at noon, we do it. We call it the Rant. I, Pugs Moran, put it together, and then I perform it in what's known as a stream of consciousness. That's right. It's just me talking, whatever, right? Next thought, boom, fire it out. No governor, no filters, no breaks, no stops, no nothing. Just me blabbing away about all of the things that are happening in the world. I do rein myself in to some extent by utilizing 4 quarters. 4 quarters just for me, for my own mind, be like, okay, where am I in this mess? Quarter 1 is called Antecedently on This Day. That's how the show starts. It's all the things that have helped shape our understanding of this day in history. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You can probably figure out what that is. Quarter 3 is deads. These are people who died on this day. We're going to talk about a couple of people who died on this day and what their historic significance is, and whether or not they went to heaven or hell. That's right. Quarter 3, we stand in judgment. Quarter 4 is hot topics. That's everything that's happening today, the big news, the headlines, and all that. So if you give it about 30, 35, sometimes 40 minutes, we'll get to the 4th quarter, and that'll be the bulk of the show. This whole experiment is going to run about 2 hours, and I say experiment because that's exactly what this is. Spread the word, tell your friends, like, follow, subscribe, all of that stuff. This is not talk radio like you're going to get anywhere else. This is not sports talk. This is not Republican conservative talk. That's all there is. Something else. This is talk for normal people. All right. We do have to, keep the lights on around here. So the way we do that is through tipping. We have a tipping system where we're just going to be relying on people. If people want this show, they're going to keep paying every month, and we're going to see where we are. And if we can keep going, we can keep going. It's been a difficult trail to traverse, but we make it, and we are in our pledge week. We award every day the title of executive producer to the person who has pledged or tipped the biggest. Like today, person who tips the biggest will be tomorrow's executive producer. Today we have an executive producer. That person is no stranger to the title of executive producer. It is, of course, April. Thank you so much, April. Where are we? Where are we in this week's pledge drive? Let's see. Let's get that up. Let me read it. It's pledge week. In order to continue daily production of the Rant, we, the collective we, the royal we, must secure $85. Oh, we're down to 85. That's not bad. 85 in 2 days. 2 days. So we just need to make enough tips in 2 days. So that's like a bartending shift where I make fucking $42. Okay, so it's not asking a lot. I'm sure we're going to make it. So thank you, folks. And today's executive producer, a particular thank you to the lovely April. Thank you so much. All right. Again, you go to Venmo, you do all that kind of stuff, whatever you need to do if you want to be tomorrow's executive producer. Boom, there it is. That's all the information you need. Small talk segment. Do I have any small talk? I got no small talk. I honestly, I got nothing. I got no tales to tell, nothing that doesn't fall within the format of the show. So what do you say we get started with today's rant? It is the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. These are the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio. By the way, you like the new flag? I think I settled on this flag. I like this flag. You know why I like this flag? Because I didn't feel that the other flag that we used to have, the flag we used to use was a framed, like old-timey American flag. It was old-timey. But then we added our friends. We haven't given names to our friends yet. We added our friends, and I'm like, man, the friends cartoonish kind of kind of motif doesn't really mesh with the old-timey flag. So I found this one, and I think it works better. I think the whole look is better. I think the cartooniness and the bright colors of our two friends, the lawn jockeys, the art statement, I think it looks better with that flag. I don't know. I just think the flag looks better. And this is going to please Ed at radiomisfits.com, Radio Misfits for all your podcast needs. It's going to please Ed because it's not a flickering flag. It's static. It's going to stay the same. Now, we got a bunch of other changes we got to do around here. Like we're going to do something about that wall. We're going to black out that wall. We're going to maybe add some other things. Got a really cool sign that Peter gave us. I got to figure out how to get that in a shot. May require some camera tricks, but we'll figure it all out. And if not, we'll just put it up in the offices here. So thank you so much. Let's see here. Let's start the rant. It is the 5th day of December, year of our Lord 2024. 340 days have been torn from the 2024 calendar. There's 26 remaining. So as we say, get those New Year's Eve plans started. Let's get started. Quarter one, we call it antecedently on this day. This is where we go through the events that have helped shape our understanding of December the 5th's past. You might call it this day in history, or how about antecedently on this day? 1848, California gold rush. Today's the day when it all began. That's right. We all know about the 49ers, right? No, Pugs. The gold rush started in 1849. Note that. 1840, it took a long time for word to spread back then. It was by 1849 that people were all making their move towards. But it was on this day in 1848, in a message to the United States Congress, U.S. President James K. Polk confirms that large amounts of gold had been discovered in California. All the gold in Cali, right in that song. He's in the middle of a bank in Beverly Hills on somebody else's name. So they were singing about the disruption, the disparity, the wealth gap. They're singing about it in country music in the 1970s. Now, some country music singers start singing about the wealth gap, and you know what happens? It's considered a communist. Antecedently on this day in 1921, the Football Association of England bans women's football in the country from league grounds. So on this day in 1921, a bunch of dudes got together, and they were so threatened because they were fucking idiot dudes in 1921. They're like, women should not be allowed to play sport. And they got together, and enough of them were like, yes, women shan't play sport in England anymore. And they wouldn't let them play soccer. I don't know if it was all sport, but, soccer's like the main sport there. And it lasted 50 years. Women were not allowed to kick a ball around on a patch of I guess we're calling it a pitch. Not a patch, but it's a pitch. They call it a pitch. I wasn't trying to. I was just saying it's a patch of ground. A pitch. Women were not allowed until like the 1970s to kick a ball on a pitch where Football Association games were played. And that lasted till the 70s. It took to the 1970s for someone to go, this is kind of fucked up and mean. And what is the reason for this? Oh, just that women suck? Just that a bunch of dudes who couldn't get laid decided to get fucking angry at women in 1921? So stupid. Like, there's not even a reason. It's just that they're women. Antecedently on this day in 1933, the 21st Amendment to these here United States Constitution was ratified, repealing prohibition in the United States. Don't ever tell me. You can't change the Constitution. You goddamn right you can change the Constitution. The Constitution was designed to be changed, okay? We could have a debate about where the Bill of Rights fall into all of that and whether or not they were intended to be changed, whether or not they are sort of just an appropriation of ideas from the Bible. I don't know. But certainly the Constitution is a living document. And on this day in 1921, after 3 years of a bunch of dudes going, I want beer, they decided to just completely upend the United States Constitution and make a change to it. They made a new Constitution, amendments, living document. And then they went, this is fucked up. And they changed it. And they got rid of it. So on this day, you can drink again. So all of you staunch constitutionalists that don't believe there should ever even be a conversation about something that was put in there 200 years ago. So all you people, you remember that the next time you're sipping on your bourbon watching fucking O'Reilly or what, I don't know, is he even a guy anymore? Hannity. I don't believe the Constitution should ever be changed. Glug, glug, glug. Come on. We can at least have conversations about shit these crazy old men 200 years ago thought applied to the relevant world that no longer apply. Do we really need a law that says that the government can't house soldiers in your garage? Is that really something that we need to stay with? Or can we have a conversation about maybe cleaning that out? Making a couple of new... I'm just spitballing here. I don't know. Maybe we do need that. That's why we're going to have a conversation. It just seems like a lot of these things are stupid in the Constitution. Stupid. Oh, stupid, huh? But yeah, fuck you, Jeff Ballard. I know that's what because you're Mr. Constitutionalist who likes to have your drinks. Well, they fucked with your Constitution on this day in 1933. Antecedently on this day in 1955. Hold on, I lost my place. Because Google Drive or the ghost of Kelly just likes to screw with me. Antecedently on this day in 1955, E.D. Nixon and Rosa Parks lead the Montgomery bus boycott. I don't know who E.D. Nixon is. Didn't teach us about E.D. Nixon in school. No idea. The only Nixon I knew from back then was a president. He was definitely not holding hands with Rosa Parks, walking across some bridge. Nah, that's not a thing. Antecedently on this day in 2017, the International Olympic Committee bans Russia from competing in the 2018 Winter Olympics. Why? Because they used doping drugs in the 2014 Olympics. Bye-bye, commies. Oh, let's do birthdays. There's a bunch of people having birthdays today, or so they say. Like I said, I'm not going to phone county offices. Is it true that on this day, Walt Disney was born? Born on this day in 1839. George Armstrong Custer. Colonel Custer, General Custer? I don't know. Which was general, I guess. Was he good? Isn't he famous for getting just his ass whipped by a bunch of Indians? I don't know. I don't know if he was any good. Here's what I do know. Every time I hear the name General Custer, I want custard. And not frozen custard. I don't want frozen custard. I want because I guess there's two kinds of custard. I don't know. I'm not a custard aficionado. But there's frozen custard, which is just whatever. It's ice cream. There is no bad ice cream, okay? And then there's the custard that goes in donuts. That's the shit I like. I want a big bowl of the custard that's more like pudding than ice cream. Happy birthday. Born on this day, General Custer. Wish I knew more about him. Born on this day in 1901, Walt Disney. Walt Disney was a genius. Walt Disney contributed as much to the mythology of America and who we see ourselves as and what we were in our past. Walt Disney, culturally speaking, is as important an influence on Americanism as we have ever had. He also, there's some stuff about Walt Disney. Walt Disney was a man of his age. He didn't like a lot of people that weren't like Walt Disney. He thought that, he and Henry Ford had a couple of very controversial views on Jews, for one. But I always thought Disney was Jewish. I don't know, whatever. Apparently there's some really crazy shit in the Disney vault. Shit that hadn't been seen since 1939. Mickey in a Nazi uniform marching with Hitler. I don't know if that exists. I made that up, but that's the kind of shit they say is down there. that Walt was like, I don't know, this war could go the other way. We might want to be seen as. Again, I don't know if that's true either. I just know the Disney Vault is supposed to be filled with really cool, fucked up shit. Born on this day in 1901, Walt Disney. Born on this day in 1932, Little Richard. I don't know. I'm not all that interested in Little Richard. Here's what I know about Little Richard. He is the reason that the Beatles go, woo! That's, Paul McCartney saw Little Richard do that, and he decided to do that in a song. And then all of a sudden, the Beatles became the woo band, even though that's Little Richard. Little Richard, born on this day in 1932, born on this day in 1960, another singer, Jack Russell. American singer, songwriter, producer, Jack Russell, of course, the lead singer of Great White. Also invented a dog. Famous for that. People lesser known, more famous for Once Bitten, Twice Shy. But, look, he also invented a dog. Jack Russell is, Great White. I kind of feel, you kind of feel bad for Jack Russell. Great White was a big band. They fell on hard times. They started becoming a band you could see at the town carnival in June. Can you believe they got Great White? Well, yeah, actually, I can. Probably only cost them about $5,000. So Great White's doing all that stuff. They played a show, was it in Rhode Island or somewhere, man? And like they had like this, because they still want to be Great White, that is playing, in a theater in 1986 in front of like 20, 30,000 people. They still want to be that Great White. My, once been. But they're in a little like Jerkwater club where people are paying a $5 cover to get in to see them. And they still want to do the stage show. So they had a pyrotechnics thing, and it caught the club on fire, and everybody died. I don't know that everybody died. A lot of people died, man. One of the absolute most tragic rock and roll. I mean, we talked the other day about Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Who concert where everybody got trampled. Again, that is nothing compared to what happened with the Great White concert. Oh, Jack Russell, if I remember, because the band was held liable, and so was the club and insurance company. It was a big mess. I mean, we're talking, look, how many people died? Should we probably know, right? Should we probably give honor to these people? Let's see. Hey, he just died. I didn't know this. Did we cover Jack White's death? He died in August of this year. Does it say anything about... maybe personal life. Maybe we did. He had dementia. I remember this story. This story's from a documentary. In 1979, Jack Russell was arrested for attempted robbery of a drug dealer's home while high on PCP. He shot into the house that accidentally struck and injured the housekeeper, who survived the incident. Russell was sentenced to 8 years in prison, but was released after 11 months. On March 25th, 2011, he and his girlfriend, Heather Ann Kramer, were married. You know what? It doesn't say anything here about... How does it not say anything? The station. Here it is. Okay. Oh, God. The station fire. Okay, the station nightclub fire occurred on the evening of February 20th, 2003 at the station, a nightclub and hard rock music venue located in Warwick, Rhode Island. Killed 100 people and injured 230 during a concert by rock band Jack Russell's Great White, an offshoot of the original. Oh, my God, history's not even going to give. That's good. That's probably because the actual members of the real Great White are like, that wasn't us, okay? That was our former singer and a bunch of guys. All right, I get that. Jack White celebrating a birthday today. He's dead. He died. Born on this day in 1963. Happy birthday to a guy who was very confusing to me for a number of years, Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. Born on this day in 1963. He ain't that one. He's the other Dr. Dre. Are you guys old enough? Gen X people are old enough to remember. Before there was an established Dr. Dre, like we all know who Dr. Dre is. Beats Headphones, super producer, cultural icon. An argument can be made for Dr. Dre every bit as well as the argument I just made for Walt Disney, right? Dr. Dre is the guy. We know who Dr. Dre is. Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. We know that guy. But this guy, born in 1963, he was also famous between like 1988 and 1993. And he's Dr. Dre, Doctordre. We had two of them. Both of them had the fancy accent on the E for Dre as well. This Dr. Dre, he had a partner, Ed Lover, and they were the early Yo MTV Raps guys. And that's why it was confusing to me as a white suburban kid who was, dipping a toe in the hip hop world, trying to figure out what this was. Because here you had a guy named Dr. Dre, and they were also talking about a band called NWA, which had a guy named Dr. Dre. And I'm like, what? Is it the same guy? I don't know. Dr. Dre, not the good one. Not that this guy's a bad one. Ugh. All right, whatever. Dr. Dre. Hold on a second, folks. Do we have some breaking news that I gotta? All right, when did this happen? I'm so confused. The way news presents itself, I don't know if this is something that just happened. Updated 11/22. There's been a school shooting at a kindergarten in California. Updated 11:22 a.m. Central Standard. Okay, so this is an update from earlier. Investigators on Thursday are trying to determine if a gunman was specifically targeting a tiny religious school in Northern California when he opened fire and critically wounded two kindergartners before killing himself. Okay, so right. Good Lord. All right, never mind. Let's get back to the birthdays, right? We were just talking about the very confusing situation surrounding having two Dr. Dre's. Moving on. Born on this day in 1988, one of my favorite people, Kyle Long. Oh, Kyle Long was a beast, boy. He was he's an icon with the Chicago Bears, one of our favorite offensive linemen of all time. Still just, chopping it up on podcasts. He's a great personality. He's got no filter. He's funny. He's the son of Howie Long, if you know Howie Long. He's also the brother of Chris Long. This one, Kyle Long, offensive tackle, the NFL, a lot of years. Got some injuries. Too bad. He was such a beast. He was our captain. He was our leader. He was the boss. Kyle Long, born on this day in 1988. Happy birthday, Kyle. Very cool guy. Born on this day, 1988. All right, let's do the deads. These are people who died. Let's talk about folks who passed away on this day. Hold on a second. Mr. Popular. Ugh. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with a crazy person. Yikes. Apparently, there's a lunatic who thinks that I think these are called law jockeys. Somebody, somebody thinks that I knew these were going to be provocative, okay? I didn't think we were going to get reviews from people who, this person in particular. They think I called them law jockeys, L-A-W. Like, I think that's what they're called. Like, I think these are called law jockeys. He should really know what they are. He doesn't even know what they are. He's calling them law jockeys. Well, I'm sorry if I have some kind of a speech impediment, but I believe no sane person heard me and thought I said motherfucking law jockeys, okay? You didn't hear law jockeys and go, oh, obviously I misheard. He obviously fucking knows they are historically known as lawn. They go on your fucking lawn. I can't let people irritate me. I just can't. I don't need this kind of shit. Actually, that's not true. I rely on this kind of shit. I rely on it. Okay. Let's get back into the show today. Let's talk about deads. Dead on this day in 1951. Shoeless. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing everything. Oh, jockey. Seriously? If there's ever been an indication of just troublemaking, really? You really think that I thought it was law jockey? Really? Let's do the deads. All right, these are the people, notable quotables, historical figures who've passed away on this day. Let's decide whether or not they are worthy of heaven or hell. Dead on this day in 1951, Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe Jackson. You sons of bitches. You don't know nothing about Shoeless Joe. Shoeless Joe was basically retarded. Shoeless Joe was convicted by Judge Mountain Landis, Commissioner Landis, convicted and thrown out of baseball forever because his proof was that he made an X on a contract. He wasn't illiterate. He couldn't read. He was absolutely... The White Sox had a lot of older, bigger, more angry players, okay? And Shoeless Joe was, like I said, you know, they didn't have the spectrum back then, but he was on it, okay? He was definitely not all there. But what he could do was fucking hit a baseball. He hit a baseball like nobody else. Babe Ruth calls him the greatest hitter the game has ever known. Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth modeled his swing after Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe Jackson got roped into a conspiracy with a whole bunch of other players on the team. He was just trying to fit in. And one of them deals were like, go ahead, sign it, Joe. Joe, we need Joe. They knew they needed Joe because Joe was the best player. But he was also within the confines in the universe of that locker room, the fucking idiot, the runt that everybody picked on. And everybody was like, hey, Joe will do it. Hey, Joe, eat this. You know, the guy they made eat shit. Joe will eat it. You know, he was that guy. So they get him in the room and everybody's signing and they know that they need Joe because Joe's a celebrity. Joe doesn't know he's a celebrity because it's 1919 and he's an idiot. So they're like, come on, Joe, sign it. What? Sign it, Joe. He didn't know what he was signing, so he made an X. Why? Because he can't read and he can't write. That's what got Shoeless Joe banned, for being complicit, for being one of the ringleaders they tried to say in the day. Now, even that was bullshit. And within a couple of years, that story had gone away. He was no longer considered a ringleader. Eddie Seacott, all those guys, those troubling guys. Anyway, so they threw the World Series. A whole bunch of White Sox in 1919 got together to throw the World Series. Shoeless Joe Jackson was seen to be one of them. Does anybody know that Shoeless Joe Jackson set a World Series record that still stands to this day? 14 consecutive singles. Oh, yeah. Shoeless Joe was throwing the World Series. 14 consecutive singles. Nobody's ever going to do that. This idiot didn't know what he was doing. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. You can talk all you want about Pete Rose or Barry Bonds. Dude, let's start with Shoeless Joe Jackson. Tell you a little bit about him. He was an American outfielder who played Major League Baseball in the early 20th century. He had a .356 career batting average. It is still the fourth highest in the history of Major League Baseball. He's often remembered for his association with the Black Sox scandal, in which members of the 1919 White Sox participated in a conspiracy to fix the World Series. As a result, Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis banned Jackson from baseball after the 1920 season. Let's see here. During the World Series in question, Jackson had led both teams in many statistical categories and also set a World Series record with 12 base hits. Okay, I'm sorry, it wasn't 13. 12 base hits. Jackson's role in the scandal, banishment from the game, and exclusion from baseball's Hall of Fame have been fiercely debated. There's no debate. The guy made no errors. The guy is ranked the third in 2000, in the year 2000. Shoeless Joe Jackson was ranked by Major League Baseball as the 13th greatest outfielder in the history of the game. That included outfielders that played in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It was 2000. I mean, come on. Shoeless Joe. There should be a whole bunch of people that we talk about getting into the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe is absolutely chief among them. We're putting him in heaven. Shoeless Joe died on this day in 1951. By the way, he would play in like lesser leagues under an assumed name. And they believe that he holds club records for teams all over this, like small Southern teams and stuff. Like, yeah, we had that guy for one season, Ichabod Johnson. He came in here and he hit 500 for the season. Yeah, that was Shoeless Joe. He was just going from town to town, assuming names, getting paid to play for teams. Terrible, terrible. He should be an icon of the sport. Born on this day or dead on this day in 1951. We're putting him in heaven. 1991, Richard Speck died. He hid under beds and killed a bunch of nurses. Guess where he's going? Richard Speck. I went to high school with a girl. This is so crazy. Went to high school with a girl. I didn't go to high school. She went to the next high school over, but we were friends with them all. Her dad was like the warden at the prison where Richard Speck was, and her house was like right across from the prison. And Richard Speck was like the handyman around her house. He painted her room. she's a little girl. She's like a little girl. And, dad is the warden of the prison. So he has the guys come over. And at this point, Richard Speck had been there for about 20 years. He was trusted. If you know anything about Richard Speck's time in prison, he had boobs. Yeah. He took like hormones so he could have boobs. I guess it made him more popular. I don't know. I imagine a dude with boobs in prison would be popular. But Richard Speck painted her room. And I always thought that is the great. I'm like 16, 17 when I heard this story. And I'm like, that is the greatest story ever. I'll tell that story for the rest of my life. Richard Speck, he's in hell. Of course he is. Dead on this day in 2002, Roone Arledge, American sports producer, basically invented sports and how we watch it. And I love sports, so he's in heaven. Roone Arledge. Dead on this day in 2002. Dead on this day in 2010. Dandy Don Meredith. Come on, he's in heaven. Dandy Don. How cool was Dandy Don? Oh, we need cool-ass football players like Dandy Don Meredith again. That guy had no fucks to give except for a good time over the horizon. He was awesome. Then in like the 80s, he was doing the Nestea plunge. Remember that? I'm Dandy Don. Did Monday Night Football, sitting right next to OJ, acted totally like they were friends. Nah, they were. I'm sure they all were friends. Nobody knew what OJ was capable of. I mean, I'm sure the signs were there. Dandy Don comes back in the booth with who was in the booth then? Like Howard, Dandy Don, and OJ Juice. Dandy Don comes back into the booth like during a timeout or a break commercial break. Man, OJ's really going at it with the wife on the phone. I wonder if there are any signs like that. Maybe. Dandy Don, he's awesome. He's the coolest. Dandy Don Meredith. He's in heaven. Dead on this day in 2010. Ground Zero, the first one. I know a lot of people, when they talk about the great Dallas Cowboy quarterbacks, they all like to start with Staubach. Nah, Staubach had to replace somebody. Dandy Don. Right? Dandy Don was before Staubach. You had Dandy Don, you had Staubach. Hell, I'll even put Danny White in there because I'm generous. And I like Danny White. Get into Aikman. And there's nothing for a bunch of years. I think we get a collection of Quincy Carters and Drew Hensons and I don't know, Bledsoes maybe. I don't know. What did we have? And we got Roma. Woo! And Dak. Woo! Now nothing. Now we got nothing. There's nothing except the highest paid player in the league, and he's broken. Okay. Happy death day to Don Meredith. We're going to put him in heaven. Dead on this day in 2010. Dead on this day in 2013. I can't even have a conversation about this. No one should. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela went straight to heaven. He's one of those guys that, like, when you were in prison, they were like at the pearly gates. They're like, wait. You were in prison for how long? Really? And for what? Really? Okay, Mr. Mandela, come on through. God, we are so sorry. That must have been a paperwork snafu up here. That should not have happened. You should not. Nelson Mandela, we're going to put him in heaven. Okay, here, let's stop down on this one. This is, many of you remember, I come up with a lot of ideas for podcasts that never get done. One of the ideas for a podcast that I really wanted to do was a series called Who is Killing Our Porn Stars? And I wanted it to be a series of interviews with friends and people in the porn industry talking about dead porn stars. And the reason this came about was because a couple of years ago, when was this? It was around this time, 2017. Wow, 2017 at this point. Where just crap tons of porn stars were dying. Like, I had this alert on my phone of porn stars' deaths, right? Deaths. And there's just a whole bunch of them. And I made a list, and I got it on a drive. There's a whole list of, like, fairly successful porn stars. I'm not a big, like, porn guy, but, these are, like, names that I've heard of, Hold on. It's he's in the next room. He has no idea I'm streaming. That's, they were all dying in weird ways, suicides, suspicious stories, but they all had, like, really tragic or really crazy stories behind their ends. Anyway, on this day, one of the big ones that made me go, geez, she's actually a name in this business. I thought, geez, the hell? On this day in 2017, adult film star, Canadian-American actress August Ames died. August Ames. Now, this is one of the crazy stories. This made headlines. This was August Ames was a porn star. She was very popular. She was a top porn star. And she was also an advocate for porn stars' rights and all of that kind of stuff. She was very vocal. She had a mouth on her, and she had opinions on Twitter and whatnot about the life of a porn star and the way that they are treated by the industry and, all that, kind of a Norma Ray type with silicone breast implants who was active, very active. Oftentimes you have these advocates for they're retired old porn stars. No, she was active, and she was, she had a complaint about being scheduled to work with an actor the next day. All right, look, just stow whatever your feelings are about the porn industry, okay? We are operating in a universe, for the sake of this conversation, where it's a legal operating industry, okay? This is just something people do, so stop your snickering. And she was scheduled to work with somebody in a porn scene, August Ames. This person, she found out, also works in gay porn, trans porn, and all kinds of other kinds of underground porn. She refused to work with this particular actor in this scene because of the other kinds of porn work he does that she deems not as regulated as the industry that she's in. So she refused to work with him. And she said why. She tweeted out, "I will not work with people who work in this industry until blah, blah, blah." I guess we have the story here somewhere. I guess it's in the, let me click on her thing. Well, that did not go over well with the crazy trans people, gay people. They're all just normal people, and you're a bigot, and why do you hate trans people, and why do you hate gay people, and that's not what she was complaining about. Again, the person, the dad who is complaining about watching the 17-year-old new trans woman swim against his daughter and kick her ass because he's half a foot taller and his arms are twice as long and his muscle mass is different because, again, he was a boy until just about a year ago. What is the difference between that father complaining about that. Does that make that father someone who hates trans people? No. Or does it make that father somebody who is just like, this is not fair to my daughter? And it doesn't paint me as anything more or less than a father who is looking at this and saying it's unfair to my daughter. Okay, so that is essentially what she was saying. She was saying, look, I'm a porn star, but I am not going to work with people who come from unregulated portions of the industry. I am not comfortable working with male actors who are also having sex with people from the trans. Now, why is this a real complaint? Because a lot of the trans actors in porn, which has now in the last few years become, I guess, a pretty sizable subgenre, a lot of them are also prostitutes, okay? A lot of people who are trans porn stars make the bulk of their money being prostitutes for bankers who want to have sex in a 4-star hotel. That's where it is. And that's a very real concern. Mainstream porn, the big porn, I mean, they're pretty safe. They're pretty mainstream. They're pretty regulated. There are laws. But her coming out and saying, look, I'm only going to work with regulated actors who don't work in these other genres. Well, she was brutalized. Her last post was, fuck y'all. And then she hung herself. Come on, man. Isn't that tragic? Jeez. Here, this is her, just so we know who we're looking at. She's not a horrible person. She works in a business, a risky sex business. There she is. That's her. Women have to take care of themselves. How can you be pro-women? I'm pro-woman doing porn. I don't give a shit. Good for them. As long as they feel like they're safe and they're not being objectified and they are using what they have to get over, because that is ultimately what every man in the world is allowed to do. Use whatever you got, man. But, somehow women are the ones who we put these objections on. Well, you may not like it, but shut your fucking mouth because you're not a woman and you're not making that choice. Let her do what she wants to do. Try and be a goddamn moral nanny. Get the fuck out of here. Don't claim you're a libertarian or you want freedom, but also women shouldn't be allowed. No, whatever. She's a girl. She made choices. I don't give a shit. Anyway, here, let me give you the rundown on what they say happened here, okay? We're talking about August Ames. Here it is. On December 2017, Ames was due to perform a scene but withdrew when she learned that her co-star was a man who had appeared in gay pornography. On December the 3rd, 2017, Ames wrote on Twitter, whichever lady performer is replacing me tomorrow for Erotic X News, you're shooting with a guy who has shot gay porn. Just to let you know, all this bullshit is all I can say. Do agents really not care about who they're representing? And then hashtag for her thing. I do my homework for my own body. That was her tweet. That was it. She doesn't want to perform with people who are working in an unregulated, sketchy part of the world, but agents, because we need a dick for this shoot, will just put anybody in there. Well, she's an actress who stood up because she had a little bit of power. She can say, yeah, I ain't fucking doing that scene, but you know what? You're going to call me tomorrow to do another scene because I'm a hot fucking porn star right now. So I'm going to say no to this. And she was so brutalized for being anti-homophobic or for being homophobic, for being transphobic, for not supporting the people who don't have it as good as her. And all of that shit drove her to kill herself. On December the 5th, 2017, 2 days after her tweet, Ames was found dead in Camarillo, California at the age of 23. Her death was ruled a suicide. Upon her autopsy, toxicology results revealed that she had cocaine, marijuana, the antidepressant sertraline, and the oxynorelol and Xanax in her system at the time of her death. Close friends stated that cyberbullying led to her suicide. Her final tweet before suicide had been the words, "Fuck y'all." I think it's a podcast. There are so many more stories just about these. There's more details than that. I don't want to spend the whole show on it. Like there's another one named Dakota something. She was a very troubling looking porn star because she looked like she was underage. And oh my God, her story is so tragic. They found her in the trunk of a car. Dakota something. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. Oh, how Savannah. We can start with Fort Worth's own Savannah. Her tragic end. That's how I would start. Who's the other one? The other one, Styles. Something Styles. Some hot. She was like a hot blonde. She died in a really sad way, in a really of course, our friend Jessie Jane. Woo, man, I'm telling you, who's killing our porn stars? That's a podcast coming to Radio Misfits. Let's do it, people. Anyway, where were we? August Ames. I'm going to put her in heaven. I feel bad for her. Dead on this day in 2017. Dead on this day in 2021, Bob Dole. He ran for president. He lost an arm serving this country, but he was a politician, so Bob Dole's going to hell. Dead on this day in 2022, Kirstie Alley, American actress and producer. Personally, if you ask me, I think Cheers started to suck after Shelley Long left, so she's going to hell. Dead on this day in 2022, Kirstie Alley. Dead on this day in 2023. I'd have to check in with James on that. My buddy James over at WBAP 93.3. You should be listening after this show. James is a bit of a Cheers expert. He's got opinions on just about every episode. Definitely a Cheers expert. I wonder what his take is on Rebecca. I wonder, because when Shelley Long left, I was like, you know what? And then I didn't like Rebecca for a while because, she wasn't Shelley Long. Anyway, moving on. Dead on this day in 2022, Kirstie, what'd she die of? That's too young for her to die, right? She shouldn't be dead. Kirstie Alley shouldn't be dead. Dead on this day in 2022, Kirstie Alley. She's an actress. She's going to hell. Dead on this day in 2023. What? Yeah, he did. That's right. He was just on TV like a year ago. And then what did he die the next day or something? Norman Lear, the great Norman Lear. Love that guy. Great. Used television and comedy and satire just to, drive conversations into the mainstream. He was so terrific. He's in heaven, Norman Lear. You're damn right he is. How could he not be? All right, let's see here. Let's move now. Once again, I should thank our executive producer. That's right. We've got an executive producer on today's show. Every day we look for tips. That's how the show runs. No commercials, no advertising, no nothing. Every day we look for tips. Big tipper of the day becomes the executive producer. Today's executive producer, the lovely April. Thank you so much. All right. So if you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be the big tipper. We are in a pledge week. I will keep you updated on the day where we are with pledges. Trying to raise, I think we started today with $85 or something. I think it was like 100 and something. We're doing good. We're doing really good. So thank you all. I think I need to take a quick break. I know we hate to do this, right? I think I need to take a quick break, and it's not because I need to answer the door. I have to go to the bathroom, you guys. This sucks. Yeah. I usually go before. I usually have this all planned out. Today I didn't because I was trying to get the law jockeys. I was trying to get the law jockeys lit properly, and so I didn't go to the bathroom. My bathroom time was spent there. So if you will grant me just about 30 seconds, let me go run down the hall. We'll be right back, okay? Take a quick break. We'll leave the camera on. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, that's wrong. Huh? So how are we doing today? Where are my glasses? Forgot my glasses. Oh, for crying out loud. Hold on. Forgot my glasses. Forgot my glasses. Why is my chair up so high? There we go. That feels better. All right, we're back, folks. Very good. Christina in the chat room says, hey, I'm in a pose mode over here because the clutter is getting out of control and I found a box of Leslie's Pool shock packets. If you know anyone who could use it, it's free to a good home. You mean like to get high? Like what? Like what is that? Is that like bath salts? What are you talking about? I don't know, I'm not a pool owner. I don't know. Sports Bras in the chat room says the trailer for the Aaron Rodgers docuseries on Netflix came out, and good Lord, he is a douche. Yeah, he is. I don't know. Well, hey, whatever. Had this conversation on Sunday with E, and he summed it up well. All right, so we're watching football. E, of course, of the E Gala. We were all watching football over at E's place. Got the lovely Mrs. E. We got a little Junior E. We got me. We got Grandpa. We got Grandpa there. Grandpa's hanging out. Shout out Phil. He's hanging out. We're all watching football. And the subject, I think Mrs. E, who the lovely Mrs. E, who I don't talk about enough because, respecting privacy and all that. But everybody who knows Mrs. E knows she's fun. So Mrs. E brings up the subject of Aaron Rodgers. which, that's all I need to hear. I'm like already like 2 Jameson in, right? We're watching football all day Sunday. I'm like, let me tell you something about it. Cause I'm drinking because there's no Bears game because they played on Thursday. So I'm like, let me tell you about Aaron Rodgers. And I go into this like Aaron Rodgers rant, right? Lasts probably a good 2.5 minutes. And Mrs. E is just looking at me and Grandpa Phil's laughing. And yeah, I'm being entertaining. I'm having a good time, but I am chapter and verse just listing all of the things that suck about Aaron Rodgers, right? And then I stop to take a breath and E goes, yeah, but you got to understand, Aaron Rodgers is his Tom Brady. And I'm like, yeah, because he is a Buffalo fan. And his family, of course, understands the torture that Tom Brady has put E through as a Buffalo Bill fan. I'm biased. I'm going to watch the Aaron Rodgers docuseries. I'm aware of it. I want to give it a review, and you better believe there's going to be a review coming. I'm going to hate watch it. With an open mind. Not really. God, I hate him. But see, here's what you have to take from anything that I have to say about Aaron Rodgers. I fully admit that I am broken, that he said he owned me, and I looked myself in the mirror and I went, you know what? He's absolutely right. He has owned me for like 12 years. I'm broken. I hate him. I'm an escaped slave, right? That's like my attitude from he's not in my division anymore. I don't have to worry about it. I still hate him. So long story short, I'm biased. So whatever. I'm going to hate watch the Aaron Rodgers docuseries, CC. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to give you some really anti-Packer takes. Look, he's a jerk. He's like a sanctimonious, pretentious asshole. You ready for a quick right turn? He's also, in my estimation, the second greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. I truly believe I think he's better than Brady. I think he's better than Manning. I think he's better than all of these guys. I don't think he's, when all is said and done, better than Patrick Mahomes, and I still have him sort of behind another guy that I'm biased for, Joe Montana. I still think Joe Montana is number one. Fully understanding that by the time I die, my list of the greatest quarterbacks will probably be Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Montana. There you go. But right now, while I breathe and while I'm trying to get my son excited about going to Notre Dame, I will do nothing but talk about how great Joe Montana was. Nobody. Let me tell you something about being a quarterback in the NFL. This may not be a skill set that you want, but it turns out if you got it, you'll take it. And that's what Joe Montana had. Here's what Joe Montana had. Joe Montana had an ability to absolutely suck for 3 quarters. And then in the 4th quarter go, all right, I was just kidding, guys. And boom, all of a sudden you're winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl because Joe Montana goes, oh, 4th quarter, I'm going to start trying now. Here we go. Hey, Jerry Rice, you want to start trying now? Let's start trying, Joe. And that was that. I love Joe Montana. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. All right, moving on. Frank Jameson for football. Baller. Yeah, very baller. Oh, no, look what I did. I just did something bad. Fix it. There we go. All right, let's get into all the hot topics, the stuff that's trending today. I don't know why I'm putting it off. There's a lot of stuff I want to get into. There's a lot of fun stuff. Let's catch you up on the United Healthcare guy, Brian Rich guy. I don't know. All I've learned, I haven't really committed his last name. It's a tragedy for the family, and I'm sorry that there are people who are really going through some really bad stuff. The family, I mean, we can't forget about the family. All I can tell you though, as somebody who has been through a family tragedy of this magnitude, where the father, the head of the family, is gunned down in the middle of the street and everybody's got to react. My dad didn't have 10 years of a $10 million salary. So, they're probably not going to struggle the way the rest of us do, but they are still sad. They're still sad today because their dad was killed. Their dad, who was the CEO of a healthcare organization. My God, I mean, I don't have it, but I think there was probably a time in my life where I had United Healthcare. They're publicizing all of the stats about where they rank in the world, and they're like number one at denying people shit. So, this was that thing that we were talking about yesterday. A guy got killed on the streets of New York. That's a tragedy. But the guy who got killed is a guy who an awful lot of people see as being as evil as a pedophile. I don't know. Anyway, dude shoots him. We now have like the total tracking of what he did and where he disappeared. He's still on the loose. I don't know where he is. The manhunt continues in New York. New Yorkers are on edge as day 2 of the New Yorkers aren't on edge over this. The media wants everybody to be on edge. The media wants somebody watching from a middle of rural Ohio, right? Not working. They're sitting on their couch. They're watching Fox News. Yeah, they want to be. New York is on it. They're not on edge. Nobody thinks this is a crazy gunman who's going to strike Central Park ice skating rink next. Nobody thinks that. Everybody knows what this was. This is a person with a personal vendetta against somebody. This is personal. People are like, that's trained hitman. I watch a lot of, I don't know. I'm watching experts go, he was using a silencer on a gun that isn't made for a silencer, and then it jammed on him. So I don't know how much of a pro, is that happening to Jason Bourne or even Liam, not my daughter, or whatever. You took my daughter, whatever. Neeson, I don't think so. I think that those like highly trained, I think this is just a regular dude who had access to guns, bought parts on eBay. It's like, I get a silencer, and then he YouTube, will this silencer work? And then he watched a bunch of dudes go, yeah, it'll work. But so I don't know how much of a pro he was. Probably just a regular American with access to, things that regular Americans are. Probably plays a lot of video games, My theory is that he might be terminal. How do you right? He might be terminal, and he's like, look, all I can tell you is that if I was terminal, let me tell you about me, okay, in the crazy dark fantasies that I have. I have a 15-year-old son, so I have to consider the wake of whatever I do. Like if I find out I'm terminal, I very well may do something really cool. Cool by my worldview, right? Other people might see it as, he's a monster. I don't know. Let me just tell you, there's a lot of people when I need to calm down. I've been doing this for years. Something I learned in therapy. You might think it's dark and awful, but let me tell you, it works. I used to have trouble sleeping. I used to take, I told you I used to take Ambien. Kelly and I used to take about Tylenol PM, Ambien cocktails. I mean, we were just looking. It's terrible. Now I just use melatonin because I've learned certain ways that help me sleep. Now, these are not tools that everybody will use, but I also told you that in my therapy, we did a lot of ego work, recognizing the ego, not submerging the ego down deep further. No, but letting it be its thing, but understand what it's doing and trying to direct it and control it. That's so one of the tools that I use, and I've been using it for years, is that when I'm thinking I'm going to have trouble falling asleep, I close my eyes and I start to think of somebody that is an enemy, somebody that I dislike. And it doesn't have to be so dark that it's personal. That I think we start getting into like dangerous areas when you start easing yourself into sleep by thinking of ways to kidnap and torture your neighbor, right? That is not, but just people you hate. Like if there's somebody like in the news, I'm like, I hate that guy. Like, let me tell you, Matt Gaetz has helped me get to sleep a lot. Just that little silver spoon, fat face, obvious con man. So I'll just lay there and I'll like dream up a scenario. Like, okay, so how would I kidnap him off the street? How would I? And I never get anywhere because I fall asleep. But that is a tool. It may seem dark to you, but again, it satiates my own ego in a state where I am now a Superman over someone that irritates me, someone who doesn't really irritate me, like in real life. Like it's not a real dangerous sort of fantasy that I'm engaging in, but it helps. And I fall asleep. And my point is this. Maybe this guy didn't fall asleep. Maybe this guy actually worked through, a plan on how to kidnap and kill and escape and all of that shit. And the reason that we all think that that is probably possible is because of the occupation of the victim. And he is a victim. Regardless of his occupation, he's a victim. He made $10 million a year. He probably made another $5 million a year in bonuses, maybe even more. Extraordinarily wealthy man. A couple of kids who now don't have a dad. I don't know kids. I think they were a little bit older, but still, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the kid is, 5 or 18. Doesn't matter. But the dude's in the wind. They're going to catch him. They found out that the gunman stayed in a hostel and that, curiously, he wore a mask the entire time. So there are cameras in this hostel, but every camera that shows him, he's wearing a mask. Police say that they have just a single image of the gunman not wearing a mask, but in this single image, he's wearing a hoodie. So they can't really, it's all shadows and shit, so they don't know what they got. The gunman dropped a water bottle. He dropped a cell phone. Police got prints off of the water bottle and the cell phone, but the prints didn't yield anything. It's like this guy's never been in trouble. He's never, something. They probably, more extensive search will probably turn up something. But as far as, in the New York City crime database, this guy is not someone who they're looking for or have had in custody in the past. The bullets, curiously enough, which also sort of leads me to think that what we're all thinking. I'm no genius, right? The bullets had 3 words written on them: defend, deny, depose, right? Sort of suggest motive just a little bit. I don't know. I'm being told, right? This is what happens when we watch the news. I don't know. I've never been in a protracted battle with a healthcare company over a dying loved one. But I'm being told from people on the news that these are words that are used by healthcare companies to not give people care that they think they're entitled to. Defend, deny, and depose. Don't know if that's true, right? Because thankfully, knock on wood, haven't had to spend 5 hours on the phone with somebody telling me why my mom's gonna die, right? That's not. But look, it's an experience that far too many people in this country have. So, I was thinking about this last night. The way that we have been programmed to think about things. Over the course of the past 50 years, and due in large part to the arms race and the Cold War, we've been able to become really comfortable with spending absolutely ignorant amounts of money, taxpayer dollars, on our national defense. On defending us from something bad happening to us. All of us, even myself, who certainly over the course of my lifetime was not a great defender of a bloated defense budget. But as I've been saying, a couple of weeks ago, we had an election and I learned a whole lot about this country. So here we are through the looking glass. So now I'm like, okay, this is what we did. We didn't educate. We didn't keep healthy. We didn't inform. What we did was we bought the biggest baller military the world has ever known. And that's what we got. So here we go. That's where we are. But I was thinking, how is it that we were able to convince people so effectively that this defense budget was something that was in our best interest because it would save our lives. It would keep us alive. But we didn't have that same sort of attitude about literally our own health. Literally about 40 years of McDonald's commercials and all foods being processed and all of us being now addicted to everything the pharmaceutical companies can pump out. Make the fast food restaurants and all the fucking grocery stores, make those people all billionaires. Meanwhile, we're going into the hospital to have diseases that are not being cured, but are being treated because the pharmaceutical companies, after the fast food restaurants are done with you, they're going to have you for the last 30 years of your life. That was something that we were like, yeah, sign us up. That sounds good. Why didn't we spend, like, why couldn't we have just shaved off? Why couldn't we have thought back then to just shave off a little bit of the bloat from the defense budget and maybe really address, and I'm not talking about now because you can't discuss it now, but man, would a truly honest healthcare conversation in 1978 maybe done this country a whole lot of good. Can't do it now. We have our system. And what we saw the other night the other morning on the streets of New York is something that I think, is justifiable given the system that we're in. I understand why that man did it. There is a terrible joke that a lot of people tell, and I don't think it's very funny, but I will admit the first time I heard it, I chuckled. It's that joke about O.J. Simpson. I don't even know who first told it. Somebody's like, now, I'm not saying what he did was right, but I'm a married man, and I can see it. You know that joke? Like, okay, so at first I laughed at that joke, but you've heard it, and it's just a dumb guy joke that people say. It's not any real truth to it. But when you apply that same thing to this scenario with the gunman in New York City, it's not a joke anymore. You're like, yeah, I can see it. I can totally see it. If this man feels that his little girl, and again, now I'm just playing into the whole Hollywood depiction of this because we've seen it before. There was a Denzel Washington movie about this. This man feels that, this guy in charge of the healthcare company, again, not the individual with the family, this person, this empty suit in charge of making the decisions that will ultimately create a domino effect that has his daughter dying, we can all see it. Or maybe it's him as well. I don't know. Anyway, deny, defend, depose, supposedly, according to police, written on. All right, let's move to the other big story that we're getting today. Oh, timing being everything. And I'm telling you, here's what they're thinking. And it's very misguided. They're thinking, well, we're going to have to announce this. We may as well announce it now. And maybe some of the blowback will get clouded because everybody's still looking for the guy who killed the CEO of United Healthcare. That's right. Another major American healthcare provider has made a decision, and it's going to change the way you're covered. You covered by Anthem Blue Cross? Are you? Anthem Blue Cross decided today, because they're not making enough money, apparently. Apparently somebody at the marina got a bigger yacht, and the CEO now needs a helipad on his new yacht that he's having built. So, in order for him to achieve these budget goals and attain these sorts of, bonuses, Anthem Blue Cross needs to make a little more money. So guess what they've decided? They ain't paying for anesthesia anymore that goes too long. Come on, guys. That's what they're doing. They announced, hey, like when you got a surgery and there's a doctor and, maybe while the doctor's in there, he realizes, oh boy, this is going to take longer than expected. Yeah, we ain't paying for the anesthesia anymore. Anything, any unreasonable surgery. Hey, you doing a kidney? You can do that in 15 minutes, right? I'm going to pay for 15 minutes of anesthesia. These people are fucking gangsters. They're gangsters. I'll read you the story. I just gave you the whole thing. So let me give you the actual press release from this American healthcare company a day after the CEO of another American healthcare company was gunned down on the streets of New York. This is called tone deaf. This is called taking advantage of this moment to try and not get all the barbs they would have done. This company would have received nothing but a hot spotlight if they'd done this the day before the CEO. But no, they're trying to sneak in. We're going to make sure, all right, it's just going to get lost in all the anti-healthcare shit. We might as well get it over with now. People will forget. Maybe after we announce, they'll catch the killer. And then there'll be that whole thing. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield won't pay for the complete duration of anesthesia for patients during surgical procedures. In an unprecedented move, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield plans representing Connecticut, New York, and Missouri have unilaterally okay, so it's not nationwide. Connecticut, New York, and Missouri have unilaterally declared it will no longer pay for anesthesia care if the surgery or procedure goes beyond an arbitrary time limit. So, not what's in the best interest of the patient. No, these doctors are taking too long. And doctors are going to take as much time as it takes the doctors to take. And then you're going to learn that your surgery that the Blue Cross Blue Shield company was willing to pay for because they thought it would take 20 minutes in and out the door. Your surgery took 4 hours. You were on that table for 4 hours. And now guess what? You owe an anesthesiologist $500,000. Say goodbye to your house. I'm glad your kidney's okay. Hey, you got your kidney. You're going to need it living in that flop house. This is the system that we all are like, nah, that's better. You know what we can do? We got a desert the size of a fucking state filled with airplanes and tanks. We've got billions of dollars in the desert that we never used. People are pissed about our tax dollars being spent on frivolous things like old ladies with cancer or young people with cancer. Well, imagine being 14 years old, having, homeless parents living in a car and having leukemia. Nope, not in this country. You die. No, you don't, Pugs. They go to the... Yeah. The safety net is the thing that's the problem. The safety net shouldn't be there because we pay exorbitant rates for absolutely everything when we could be smarter about it. But no, we chose to have a desert the size of Nebraska filled with tanks and bombers that are obsolete now. Come on, we weren't smart. We weren't smart. And now not half the country, I'd say a good 95% of the country is looking at what happened on the streets of New York and going, yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Where we are. Well done, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. No, Jesus Christ. You better have a fast doctor. Is that now a conversation you as the patient are required to have with the doctor before surgery? All right, doc, look, here's how it goes. I took a beating on the Bills last weekend, so I'm not going to be able to, fund you dicking around looking for every little thing. Here's what I want. I want you in. I want you out. I want you whoop, whoop. I don't care. We'll deal with whatever happens later. Is that a conversation patients now have to have with doctors because they're worried about getting stung for $500,000 by an anesthesiologist? It's the one we chose. All right, how about this one? How about Stowaway? You following this Stowaway story? I wasn't following it till this morning, but apparently a crazy lady, what does she do? Did she start in New York? Okay, so a crazy Russian lady apparently just walks into the airport and gets on a plane with no seat, flies to France, lands in France, and then because, the French in Europe, they all suck compared to us, they immediately catch her. They're like, how the fuck did you get on the plane? And she's like, well, I got on a plane in America. Have you ever seen the security at an airport in America? They don't give a fuck. Maybe they cared in December of 2001 through like April of 2002. But that's it. After that, they were just like, okay, this is our life now, and we're going to go back to not giving a shit about anything. Doesn't surprise me at all that this whole Stowaway drama started in New York. Anyway, she goes to France. They catch her. They hold her for a couple of days. They're like, wait, you're a Russian national. But somehow you got on a plane in New York. Now you want to be in France. She's like, I just want to be in France. Hold her for a couple of days, and then they sent her back. They sent her back last night, and apparently it was a big deal. Because France is like, she can't be here. She can't even be where you are. But we're sending her back to you because you are the idiots that let her through. All right, let's see what the latest is. Who do we got here? Delta Russian stowaway is arrested upon returning from Paris to the United States. The Russian woman who's accused of sneaking onto a Delta Airlines flight from New York to Paris has been brought back to the United States and is scheduled to appear in front of a federal judge. Last Saturday, Svetlana Dali, 57, was allegedly able to get past security checkpoints at JFK. Of course she was. People don't care. No, you know what? I'm sorry. I got that all wrong. Though it's not that they don't care. They seem to care about the wrong shit. They will tie up a line. Wait, it's not. Is that an L as a middle name? Come on, it's my ID. Let me through. But yet in New York, they can just this one crazy 57-year-old lady just on a whim decides I'm going to Paris, and it fucking works. She didn't even have to ride in a wheel well. She just got on the plane. She walked right onto the jetway. Attention, Al Qaeda, or attention, whoever is left over there. I don't know what we're dealing with anymore. Hamas, they seem to be the flavor of the month. Attention, Hamas. Apparently, JFK has crazy lax security. How many other things didn't get caught, right? You don't just we just catch the one. I mean, how many other times domestically? How many domestic flights has some idiot at JFK been like, and then this person got off the. We're losing Hawaiian chicks when they fly from Hawaii to Los Angeles. We are a mess. We are a mess. Oh, but they're gonna roust you for that 3 ounces of shampoo in your bag. Oh yeah. You better power slam that Starbucks they just sold you 3 feet away, because you can't bring that through, even though you're now going to wait at your gate for another hour. No, you're not allowed to sip your Starbucks that you just paid $12 for because it's an airport. Dali, that's her name, Svetlana Dali. Dali, a Russian national with legal residency in the U.S., was even able to bypass a Delta gate agent to board the Paris-bound flight despite not having a boarding pass or valid travel documents. When she arrived in France, she was detained for several days before being escorted on Wednesday on a Delta-operated plane back to New York City. Dali was then arrested at JFK Airport. Says it's not clear why she went to France without having a valid visa. Hey, I think I know. I think she's fucking crazy. You know why? Because a normal person who is trying to get from New York to France without the proper, documentation, they would have done other things. This is something a crazy person did, and it worked. Which again, I'm looking at you, JFK Airport, International Airport, Hub of America Security. Hold on. What we got here? Hold on. What do we got? I got my boy Rob Barr. He's out there in coastal California. He says we got breaking news. We got a tsunami going on in California that I need to be aware of. Hold on. Let's see. I'll go to Twitter because it's where the quickest news comes. All right, let me see if I see anything. San Francisco Bay. All right, well, that's where our buddy Rob is. Let's see what we got. Anyway, stowaway lady. Crazy, stupid story about another example of American incompetence because nobody cares. Let's see here. A tsunami warning has been activated for San Francisco's Bay Area with expected wave arrival at approximately 12:10 p.m. Sirens are currently sounding. What? Hold on. The hell is going? Well, of course, I'm watching on the TV screen. I'm watching NBC News Now, which I was championing a couple of days ago, going, they're really good with breaking news. It seems like a big breaking news story. Hold on. Let's get in here. Let's get this. All right. What are we looking at here? All right. A tsunami warning has been activated for the San Francisco Bay Area with expected wave arrivals at approximately 12:10 p.m. That is 2:10 our time, 30 minutes away. Sirens are currently sounding along the Northern California coast, signaling the approach of the tsunami. Visual evidence, let's see here. Visual evidence from local sources shows significant water movement in pools, indicating the aftermath of the 7.0 magnitude earthquake. What did I miss? When was there an earthquake that was 7.0 magnitude? The imagery also, was it underwater? The imagery also underscores potential tsunami risks for San Francisco. Important notice, BART, which is the acronym for Bay Area Rapid Transit, BART Transbay service has been temporarily suspended to ensure passenger safety during this critical time. Residents and visitors are urged to move to higher ground immediately and follow all of this is America. This is America. And the news I'm currently watching, which is supposed to be the latest, hottest breaking news, NBC News Now, doing a story about AI Jesus, about how AI decided what Jesus looked like. Yeah, I know my grandpa. He ain't gonna be. Even that ain't what he looked like. Jesus was an Italian. He's a light-skinned Italian too. One of them northern Italians, not a fish-eating Italian. He's one of them pasta-eating Italians. No, he wasn't, Grandpa. All right, let's see what's happening here. What do we got? Is this sound? We're gonna have some sound.
Dad, there's an earthquake happening. Look at the pool. Holy crap. Do you see the pool?
Wait, I didn't know there was an earthquake. When did... Hold on.
Hey.
All right, we go live to Rob Barr in the Bay Area, live on the stream. Rob, what's going on? Tell me what's happened. There was an earthquake? What? Tell me about the earthquake.
I didn't feel it. Like, it's, yeah, I have no idea that it was going on. I just got something on my phone saying there's a tsunami warning.
Okay, so, but you didn't feel an earthquake. And I'm seeing videos here of like some girl and she's saying there's an earthquake. And then the Bay Area, they're reporting a 7.0 earthquake and you didn't feel anything. 7.0 is big, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. Humboldt County's, it's probably 2 hours away from me.
Okay, so what are you being told right now as a resident? Where are you at? You're in where are you at?
Moraga.
Where is it? Moraga.
Moraga,
okay.
Moraga, California.
Okay, so what?
Which is a suburb of like Oakland, kind of.
So what are you being told right now by officials, and what are you being directed to do as a resident?
Well, I'm fine where I'm at, so stay put. not to go anywhere. My kids' school, they contacted us. They're saying they're going to be safe, so yeah.
All right, because you're kind of in the hills, right?
Yeah, I'm in the hills. Okay, I'm fine.
So you're at high ground. Important notice, BART Transbay service temporarily suspended. Residents and visitors are urged to move to higher ground. Well, you're fine. So there you go.
Yeah.
maybe your real estate value is about to go way up. About to have a bay right in your backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
What's funny here? So I put on the news and people are running out with surfboards.
Oh, of course they are. The idiot class. They're absolutely gonna take it. All right, look. If you get a tsunami, you call me, okay? And I'll pick you up and I'll put you right on.
All right, we'll do.
So remember what I just asked you. If danger and death is imminent for you, I want you to stop trying to save your life and call live in.
And call you.
Please do that.
All right, we'll do, because why not?
All right, there it is. The great Rob Barr. Witch Kitty.
All right.
He's a musician out there in California. Band Witch Kitty. Very, very critically acclaimed by the fancy, music people of San Francisco. No, Rob is actually a really, really talented guy. That's how I know him. That's how I have his numbers, not just a guy in the chat room. I used to manage a band that he was the singer and chief songwriter for, and he was really talented. And then, we both go our separate ways, and he ends up on the West Coast with San Francisco bands, and he creates a whole scene. Anyway, he's a great guy. Smart, mixture of like really artistically creative, but also smart enough to do business with. You know, you can, he's not a flake. He's not. Anyway, thank you to Rob Barr. Let's see. Is there anything else that we need to know about what's happening there? Let's go back to this. Let's just funnel through the thread. Let's see. Okay. So we've got that. What is this? Is this the areas that they're saying that we need to? Okay. So what are we looking at here? We got, so it goes all the way up to Oregon, right? So this is a marine alert tsunami warning, goes all the way from Coos Bay, Oregon to Santa Cruz, California. This does encompass the entire San Francisco Bay Area, which you can see right here is all red. I mean, I don't know what this means. We've never, look, I've never spent time in Japan, right? I don't know. I don't know what this is. Have we ever had a tsunami warning for the west coast of California that was, I mean, I suppose we have, but I don't know. This seems like it's kind of possibly a big one. What else? Let's go to the latest. Okay, let's see latest. Let's see if we get a good video. Okay, what is the latest? People dancing. Of course, because this is what Twitter, this is exactly what it is now. Oh boy, what is everybody fleeing?
View, but it made me feel a little safer. And I can see the ocean right now from where I'm at, but I'm very, very far back. It is a distant view, but it made me feel a little safer.
And Gianna, how did they alert you that it was time to get to higher ground? Was it just on your phone? Did somebody call you? How are they telling folks to get out of there?
Yeah, you know, we had about, and I can see the ocean right now from where I'm at, but I'm very, very far back. It is a distant view, but it made me feel a little safer.
And Gianna, how did they alert you that it was time to get to higher ground? Was it just on your phone? Did somebody call you? How are they telling folks to get out of there?
All right, well, that's just a clip. Hold on, I'm going to try and find some live San Francisco news coverage. What is this? All right, let's see what this is. Well, here we go. Let's watch this for a little bit, folks.
And the time that we have our next round of information is usually not lining up in a good way. So we have to rely on procedures like this to get the...
So, guys, look, let me just kind of tap the brakes here for a second. This all just popped up out of nowhere. Wasn't really expecting it. Don't really know if... In the beginning, whenever you hear these things, right, you're like, okay, is this real or is this internet hype? What is happening here? Just all these context clues that I bet. This looks like this might be real for the coastline here on the West Coast. This looks like this could be a very real developing story. What I'm thinking of doing, because they're saying that the waves should approach at 210. Here's what I think I might do. I might stop the rant. Why not? It's already almost 2 o'clock. I'll stop the rant. I'm going to take a couple of minutes here. I'm going to kind of figure out everything. And then let's just do a live stream of this. Okay. And then at the end of that, you know, if it turns out to be nothing, I still have, you know, a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. Like the dude who wrote YMCA is trying to pretend like it ain't gay. Okay, we're going to break down the lyrics. We're going to watch the videos. So we got other things that I want to do. I've also got this incredibly pretentious list. The AP has decided the 10 best films of the year. So I wanted to get into that. But this is starting to look like a real story. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to end this show right now. Thank you so much to our executive producer, April. She got us. I'm going to end this. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Thank you so much to April, who was our executive producer today. Again, folks, we're looking to raise a little, you know, still about $80 or something short. So if you can help tip, thank you for that. We're gonna be back. I'm going to just do a full new show on this situation, and I'm going to try and get some proper freaking news on, and we'll dip into some California Bay Area live news coverage, and we'll watch it. Okay, so again, it appears that a tsunami, a significant tsunami, is making its way towards the coast of California, Northern California. from Bend, Oregon, all the way down to San. It encompasses the entire Bay Area is all that you need to know. So I'm going to get familiar with the story and then we'll come back. Give me about 5 minutes. Okay. I love you guys. And back after this with live coverage on the RadioMisfits.com network.